Is it Ka-zar or Ka-zar? Unboxing the Marvel Legends Ka-zar from the 2024 Zabu Build-A-Figure Wave. Is the new Ka-zar Marvel Legends action figure in the best and latest Hasbro male body mold? What kitbash can you do with the Ka-zar action figure? Kevin Plunder made his first appearance in Uncanny X-Men number 10 in March 1965. Creators Stan Lee and Jack Kirby made the readers aware that the pronunciation of his name is Ka-zar, which surprises me because there is a dash in his name and he lives in a jungle, so don't know why they pronounce it that way. The body of the Ka-zar action figure is just plain flesh plastic. There is no wash at all. On the other hand, the head sculpt has a lot of painted details. Hasbro using photoreal tech to give depth to his neutral facial expression. He has blue eyes. If you take a look closer, the hair has some kind of wash, like they're like dots of reddish orange, just to bring the scope of his hair to life. For a guy who has been around since 1965, his body is in perfect shape. You can see that Hasbro has finally sculpted male nipples, unlike the Wolverine from the 5 pack. He has double jointed pinless elbows. From the back, you can see his butterfly joints, which is kinda deep. He is wearing a brown loincloth with a belt, wherein you can attach his knife. I'll show you later on. He has a upper thigh swivel right there, barely noticeable. He has double jointed pinless knees. The boots match the loincloth in color, and there is some texture on his boots. There are peg holes on his feet and a product number. Overall, the boots are well sculpted and detailed. For accessories, he comes with a pair of expressive open palm hands. The hinge direction of these hands is forward and back. It's just plain flesh plastic. The next pair of hands he comes with is a pair of closed-fist hands. These hands also hinge forward and back. This gives us a total of 4 hands. The final pair of hands is a pair of trigger weapon holding hand. It is strange because Ka-zar doesn't come with any guns, or I doubt that he uses guns. This particular set of hands hinge up and down. These hands are the one you use in order to hold his knife, his hunting knife. The blade of the knife is gray. It's not that shiny compared to the handle, which is painted gold shiny, and there are some sculpted details on the handle. Any of the trigger finger hands can hold this particular knife. There are some sculpted details on the blade, as you can see. One way that you can hold it is in this manner. It's a little bit loose in a way because of how his hands are positioned, like he's gonna pull a trigger. That does loosen up the top. You can try to tighten it by sliding it in. It does add a dynamic look in terms of how he holds the blade. The other weapon that he comes with is this spear. The problem with this spear is the stick is too thin for his trigger finger hands. It's very loose. With a steady hand and not shaking the figure, the spear can stay in place. One way of tightening it is sliding it underneath the trigger finger hand, adding another dynamic look to how he holds it. You can try to flip it over like hunting, sliding it into the trigger finger. It doesn't want to do that, but that's very loose. Let me know in the comments below if you think Hasbro should have added a weapon holding hand so that the spear can be tightly held. For the knife, you cannot slide it in his loincloth, but there is a knife holster at the back. It stays like hidden, so when he's hunting, he doesn't show that he has a knife. Using the other hand for this, it can hold it, but my problem is always that it's very loose because of how thin the stick is. Not sure if Hasbro has done any form of testing before releasing a figure out, but obviously these hands are not the right hands for this weapon. Given all of those accessories, let me know in the comments below, do you think that is a good set, or let's go further, it's a complete set of accessories, especially with the hands. Thank you for checking this review.
I'm Tuggernaut!
The body mold used by Hasbro for Ka-zar is the Vulcan body mold. The gloves of Vulcan can still be seen there, the sculpt showing the end of his gloves. The sculpt of his biceps, triceps are all the same with Vulcan, with the double jointed pinless elbows. The torso is a modified version of Vulcan because you can see this particular muscular sculpt. It's not present in Vulcan. And of course, he has male nipples compared to Vulcan, which does not have because he's wearing a costume. Majority of his body is from Vulcan except for the torso, which is a modified version. See, from the back, it's exactly the same. The butterfly joints, the lower torso is the same. I'm just glad that Hasbro did make an effort to distinguish the torso of Ka-zar with Vulcan. For the legs, it's exactly the same. Of course, double jointed pinless knees. The position of Ka-zar's boots is the same as Vulcan, as you would expect. There has been several new figures using the Vulcan body mold, and one of them is his brother. So we have Xmen 97 Cyclops. His torso is modified, but everything else is exactly the same as Ka-zar. The biceps, the triceps, the legs are modified though because Cyclops has those yellow bands on his upper thigh. The other figure which uses the same body mold is the X-Men 97 Magneto. Modified as well is his torso and his arms. The flesh color used for Magneto is a little bit lighter compared to Ka-zar, which has a bit of a tan. But this won't stop us from doing a kit bash recreating that scene in X-Men 97, wherein Magneto is in the Savage Land with Rogue. The Ka-zar head sculpt can fit in the Magneto body as well. From afar, you can see the difference in terms of flesh tone color, but if you really want to recreate those scenes wherein Magneto was captured by Bastion, you'll have to remove the loincloth and probably paint the underwear a bit. Another figure that uses the Vulcan body mold is the Angel Deluxe Action figure. He has a modified torso. He doesn't have any butterfly joints because of his wings, but this can be a perfect Warren head sculpt for Angel if you want him without the mask. I did mention that in my full review of the Angel Deluxe action figure that this is a missing head sculpt. One can argue though that Ka-zar does not possess a pretty boy look, but a bit rough on the edges, but it can work as your Warren head sculpt. Let me know in the comments below, would you consider getting a Ka-zar just to do this particular kit bash? Another jungle character is Kraven the Hunter from the Spider-Man Retro animated series. They both have a spear, but Kraven's spear is thicker in terms of the stick. Switching over the weapons, we have Ka-zar holding Kraven's spear, which has a thicker stick. His trigger finger weapon holding hand has no problems gripping this particular weapon. Probably Hasbro should have included a spear with that thickness compared to this very thin one, which is always loose. Just to demonstrate how thin the spear of Ka-zar is, let's switch it over to Kraven, and it's very loose. It just slides down. He can't hold it firmly. However, the other hand, which I don't use to hold the spear, works well. It's able to hold it firmly. So probably the solution is to give Ka-zar a pair of weapon holding hands. Doing a kit bash, putting on the mane of Kraven on the Ka-zar body, holding the Kraven spear. Here is the look that you will get. So this is Ka-zar impersonating Kraven. We can do another head swap. Here we have the Kraven head on the Ka-zar body and the Ka-zar head on the Kraven body. If you have a question that requires a visual answer like a photo or a video, feel free to leave a comment down below. If I have an answer, I will make a community post or a YouTube short. Thank you and looking forward to hearing from you guys. Namor, as they say in Black Panther movie, or Namor as most people call him, is of a different flesh tone compared to Ka-zar. It's a bit hard to switch over the heads because it is too obvious. It is very different. The head of Ka-zar cannot fit in the Namor body because of the color. I assume in the future, Hasbro will use this body mold to create a new Namor or Namor in a retro card. Next year, 2025, Namor is turning 85, so probably there will be a new Namor action figure. Here is Namor with some of the Savage Namor accessories, the trident, and the armbands, which is in gold shiny plastic. This is how he looks like. Overall, it's a good kit bash, except for the very obvious flesh color difference of the body and the head. Here is a kit bash using the Savage Namor body for the head sculpt of Ka-zar. It feels like a Aquaman kit bash. The Savage Namor head sculpt on the Ka-zar body is a little bit okay. I do wonder if this will pass as a Tarzan kit bash, though Tarzan has brown hair. In the comments below, let me know, with this kit bash, do you see Aquaman? Which of the kit bash I did is your favorite? The Ka-zar action figure stands 16.3 centimeters or 6.4 inches tall. According to Marvel.com, his real height is 6 feet 2 inches tall. Doing a 1/12 scale conversion, this figure is too tall, but Marvel Legends are 6-inch scale figures. Size comparison beginning with Marvel Legends 6-inch scale figures, Vulcan and Darwin. Next we have is from X-Men 97, Cyclops, and Magneto. The base body mold of the three figures is Vulcan. Next, for a teenage size Marvel Legends, we have Magic, and for regular size female, we have Dazzler. X-Men 97, Jean Grey, and Rogue. For the new muscular female body mold, we have Moonstone, and a taller female body mold, we have Power Princess. Next, we have two versions of Namor. We have Savage Namor, which I reviewed recently, and we have the Walgreens exclusive Namor the Submariner. For some 1/12 scale size figures, we have Mafex, Brown Costume Wolverine, and Cyclops. Loose collector ladies, we have She, and Darna, a Filipino superhero. For some 6-inch scale versus 7-inch scale figures, we have for 6-inch scale, Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure Juggernaut. For 7-inch scale, we have the Diamond Select Marvel Select Juggernaut. We have the 6-inch scale Marvel Legends Apocalypse Retro versus the 7-inch scale Diamond Select Toys Marvel Select Apocalypse. Ka-zar comes in the standard Marvel Legends packaging wherein there's a window and you can see the figure and the Build-A-Figure part. Name is Ka-zar. On the side is art taken from Ka-zar Lord of the Savage Land number 2. On the back is the same art and a short read-up. Pause it right now if you want to have a read. A list of figures that you need in order to build Zabu, same art on the side. At the bottom, some legalities and warning, and on top, Marvel instead of the X logo. Taking the figure out of the packaging, you can see a generic yellow background. This is the same generic yellow background from the Angel Deluxe action figure, which features different comic book art that includes Venom and Spider-Man. For articulation, his head can move from side to side with no hindrance from the hair, but he cannot look up. He can look down. His arms can extend that far. He has a butterfly joint, so he can reach that far from the back. You can do a full 360 here. He has a bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows. He has a swivel on the wrist, and this particular hand can hinge forward and back. This one, on the other hand, can hinge up and down. He can crunch forward that far, which is really good, but you can see a gap on the back. He can crunch backwards that much, again a big gap on his under his chest. He can do a split really well. He can kick that far. He has a upper thigh swivel right here, double jointed pinless knees. He has a hidden swivel on the boot right there on the lower cap. His feet can hinge forward and back. He has an ankle rocker. My final thoughts: overall, a good figure despite of being a simple design. Hasbro did a good job with the head sculpt and included several alternate hands. Having a generic male body mold, this can easily replace the 1/12 scale TB League generic male body. Surprisingly, the head sculpt is also useful. It can be a unmasked head for the Angel Deluxe action figure, or any male flesh skin tone blonde Marvel character. If you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing, ringing the notification bell, and checking out other reviews I have on the channel. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and find it useful. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and ring the notification bell.